Hello and welcome to my cultural people bag project. Sorry, I have to tilt my head downwards to keep the glare off my glasses, so please bear with me through that. First thing I wanted to show you is my actual cultural bag, which is my laptop bag. And I chose this because I've had this bag for a long time. I used it all through college, and I still use it to this day at my work. And to me, it represents my professionalism and my work ethic. And I decided to include that to carry all my cultural artifacts. So for my first artifact, I chose this baseball, which is actually a portrait baseball signed by Juan Marichal, who is a Hall of Fame pitcher. He pitched for the San Francisco Giants throughout the 1960s. And to me, this just represents my lifelong love of baseball and really all professional sports, but particularly baseball due to the rich history. And I think that, to me, that also means something regarding, the tradition of the sport itself. And being able to share and pass along that love for professional sports, through the generations. I share it now with my son, and also, just the way that sports brings, communities together, and I think back on all the games that I've attended and high-fived and hugged people that I've never met before just because our team was winning. So this was definitely an important representation for me. So this symbol is a foil painting of the Golden Gate Bridge. And to me, this has a lot of significance. I received this gift for Christmas a few years ago, and it symbolizes to me, like I said, several things. One would be the perseverance of humanity. This was built during the Great Depression at a time when the outlook for a lot of people looked really bleak. And I think, as far as, just the representation of opportunity and welcoming, to the United States, people who passed under this bridge from other places. And it, not to, dismiss this, but it also connects, two sides of the bay, the North Peninsula from the city. So, to me, that's all about, connection. And then finally, I'm from the Bay Area, so, this is the, ultimate symbol of pride and just a grand monument. I've driven over this bridge, at least 50 times, and it's awe-inspiring each and every time. I never have lost that. So this is one of my favorite books. I find it very difficult to choose one favorite book, but it is The Once and Future King by T.H. White. And it is a book about the legend of King Arthur, modernized a bit to kind of bring some of the themes into the at the time, the 20th century. But essentially, what it's about is the struggle for power balanced with the temperance of justice, and you do get a very profound look at the rise to power of King Arthur, the decisions that he made, the journey that he took, and to me, there's just a lot of cultural significance to that in terms of just the decisions we face on a daily basis, and how we have to rationalize those two concepts, and also just the concept of chivalry and how that plays into our modern context as well. So this is actually technically my first intrinsic artifact. It's actually the only artifact I made myself. So I actually painted this, and I dedicated it to my girlfriend. And this is, for anybody who's familiar, this is Half Dome in Yosemite, which to me is one of the most iconic, wonders in the natural world. And really, to me, this just represents the beauty of the natural world, as well as my relationship with the natural world, and how I think that that relationship is critical to me and who I am and my cultural values. Um, and you know, as well as being a sort of, you know, glimpse into my own history. I mean, this is a place that I've been to many times as a child. So, you know, I do think that my relationship with the natural world does go deep into my beneath the surface of my iceberg, and you know, I did want to include it here. So I included these stuffed animals here because these are actually the very first gifts that I purchased for my son, who was a newborn at the time. And this just really, I think, speaks to my, you know, cultural identity as a father, and many of the decisions that I've made as a father. You know, to kind of instill certain values in my son. And when I bought these for him, I thought, you know, these are characters that I've known through my childhood that I was very comfortable with: Dumbo, Donald Duck. But then, you know, as you know, learn things, and as you know, educate yourself and become educated, you tend to understand different aspects of what these characters represent. And you know, there's obviously various, you know, theories on that. But I did, you know, include them as just kind of that struggle between, you know, the moral values of what certain cultural icons represent, as well as the innocence in what, you know, appears to be two innocent, you know. Characters that are, you know, by design, you know, intended to instill certain values in children. So do not attempt to adjust your screens because this is a stapler, and I did include it for a very specific reason. This here happens to be the best stapler I have ever owned or used, and I think anybody out there who has used a stapler knows that there is an immense difference between a quality stapler and a worthless stapler. And you would think that, you know, a stapler is a pretty simple device. You know, why would there be such a difference? Why can some work really well and others not work at all? And to me, you know, that speaks to the quality, you know, the time and energy that's put into the materials to make a good stapler, the work ethic, the consistency, the reliability of the stapler itself. These are all things that are, you know, immense cultural values to me, intrinsic values to me. And I think that this was a really, you know, again, I was struggling to find a good representation of this, but when I saw this stapler sitting on the desk, I thought it's I got to put it in. So that I think represents those values very nicely.